Campbell played for Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Everton, scoring 148 goals in 542 club games across a career that spanned almost 20 years. Alan Smith played with him at Arsenal for quite a few years. Here he is. Alan, good morning. What are your thoughts this morning?
Well, just devastated, Nick. We knew Kev was ill. We knew he was seriously ill, but we just hoped he could fight his way through it because he was a fighter. So, you know, I've spoken to a lot of the lads, his teammates, via WhatsApp this morning, and all the boys are absolutely heartbroken. Yeah, a sad, sad day.
You're a bit older than him. What are your earliest recollections when you arrived at Arsenal? He'd come through the ranks as a kid.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he'd come across from the youth team to train with the first team sometimes because he was clearly a lad of potential. George Graham would bring him across, and he was a big lad even then as a teenager, so strong, so muscly. And I always remember the likes of Stevie Bold and Tony Adams going, "Oh no, Kev's coming across today. We're going to have to work hard to try and contain him," because he had that enthusiasm. He obviously wanted to make a mark, get into that first team squad permanently. But he had a lovely way about him as well. You know, as Don just said, always a smile on his face. He had a really positive attitude, and it's not surprising that he went on to forge such a successful career. And he came of age in that 1991 season. Nick came into the team, scored some important goals. I played up front with him, and yeah, he was a wonderful partner to have, a hard worker, popular with all his teammates.
How well did you establish a playing relationship on the field? Because strikers have different ways of working together.
Yeah, it's something that George Graham would work on the training ground, as he did when it was Paul Merson and me, you know, work on movement, shape, and Kev took it on board really quickly because he obviously had that pace to run in behind, so that suited my game really well. And yeah, sometimes you line up alongside someone and you're happy with that partner. Sometimes it can be a bit awkward, but with Kev, that our respective styles did gel, and of course it was successful. And going forward in Europe, he played a huge part. Quite often, well, always, George would play a 4-3-3 and Kev would play in one of the wide positions. Scored a hugely important goal against Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup. Sorry, the second leg, beg your pardon. And then played a really big part in the final. So yeah, we all understood and respected what Kev brought to the team.
I appreciate you dredging your memory at short notice. Alan, did you see him as a rival at all?
Not really. I mean, having said that, not really. Not when he first came in, but then when Ian Wright came to the club, quite often I became a sub, and Kev forged a good partnership with Wrighty. So at that stage, you're thinking, you know, this young upstart coming to the team, he's taken my place. But as I said, Nick, you know, to have the career that he did, he was ambitious, you know, he was driven, wanted to do well, determined to do well.
Was he a keen trainer? Was he one of those who was first in, last out?
Yeah, he was a good trainer. Yeah, he wasn't one of those that kind of was a bit half-hearted. He was a good trainer. He put it in. I mean, you had to really under George Graham, but especially in the early days when you're trying to make a mark and earn the respect of your teammates, he certainly did that.
What was he like as a bloke off the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, you see the photos of him, a big, smiley personality, warm-hearted, you know, popular with all the boys, really. Loved his cars. When he got into the first team and earned a few quid, he bought a nice little Mercedes coupe. He was very proud of that. And yeah, he was a South London boy, made good, who appreciated it. He never took it for granted to be where he was. because he'd worked hard. He'd had a good upbringing at Arsenal in that youth team under Pat Rice. You know, the work ethic had to be there, and he carried that through his whole career.
We've talked a bit about his bow ties that he used to wear with us on Sky Sports. He's always put me in mind of one of those judges on a kind of reality court set up on TV. Did he ever wear a bow tie in his playing days?
No, he didn't. He'd have been slaughtered if he had have. But yeah, I think that was more of a TV thing. But he suited it, didn't he? Because his personality went alongside that. So it just looked right. Yeah, and that was Kevin.
And it says something about him that he went off and played for Trabzonspor in Turkey for a while. It's pretty commonplace now, but it wasn't so commonplace then.
It wasn't, no. And I don't think it was, easy all the time over there. He had some tough times. It was out, it's not like going to play for a team in Istanbul. So it was difficult, but I think he did make a success of it. And was able to come back to England and go to Everton, of course. But yeah, we're all eager to see how he did out there, because we thought, it's a bit of a backwards move going to Trabzonspor. But in the end, it worked in his favour.
You mentioned it briefly. He did well for Everton. He played for Forest. He played for West Brom. So there's a lot of people in the world of football who've worked closely with him, remembering him very fondly this morning from personal experience.
That's right. And I think when you've played with Kev, when you've shared a dressing room with him, you don't forget him because he was one of those personalities. So, yeah, there'll be an awful lot of ex-teammates feeling really, really sad today, as we are at Arsenal. We knew he'd been ill. He'd been in hospital for a prolonged period. But then he came out and he sent me a video to say, I'm back, Smudge, and you were hoping at that point that he was going to be fine. So it's just a tragic day for him. Well, sorry for his family, his friends, everybody concerned.
Alan, difficult morning for everyone who knew him, but thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Dean.
Well, we were talking about his time in Turkey with Trabzonspor. It was in the late 90s. For one season, they've given some reaction as well. A statement says, "We have learned with great sadness the news that our former player Kevin Campbell, who played for us in the 1998 to 99 season, passed away. Kevin Campbell was not only a player, but also a great asset to our club. His performance on the field and the energy he brought to Trabzonspor will always hold a special place in the hearts of our fans. We offered our condolences to the Campbell family and all their loved ones in the face of this painful loss." We've just got an extended statement from Arsenal Football Club, where he played for several years. "We are devastated to learn of the death of our much-loved former player Kevin Campbell at the age of 54. A boyhood Arsenal supporter, Kevin joined our youth setup in 1985, aged 15, and soon set about demonstrating his incredible eye for goal, becoming the most prolific young striker in the country. His first team debut followed soon afterwards at the age of 18, ironically against Everton, who he would also represent with great distinction later in his career. His big breakthrough at Arsenal came in the 1990-91 season. Playing up front with Alan Smith and Paul Merson, he fired 8 goals in a 10-match streak late in the season to help clinch the league title when he was still just 21. He played a big part in our title-winning side that lost just one league game all season. He linked up with new signing Ian Wright in the following campaign, reaching double figures for goals again. And in 1992-93, he added 2 more trophies to his honours list, winning the FA Cup and League Cup double, the first time it had been achieved in English football. Kevin's Arsenal career ended in 1995 when he moved to Nottingham Forest. In all, he played 228 times for our first team, scoring 59 goals. He remained a dear and cherished friend to many at the club, always maintaining the close links that began in his very early days at Highbury. Kevin's son, Tyrese, is continuing the family legacy in English football, the forward most recently playing for Stoke City in the Championship last season. Our thoughts are with Kevin's whole family at this incredibly difficult time. Statement from Arsenal on Kevin Campbell.